Greetings friends, you are on the Ruslan Belov channel, and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine as of February 17th, 2025. A huge number of events have occurred today, so let's get started. Let's move to the front line, where the Russian side is advancing. The weather is stable, with sub-zero temperatures persisting for quite a long time. According to all forecasts, these temperatures will continue for several more days, meaning that the Russian side has plenty of time and resources to continue advancing deeper into Ukrainian territory without losing momentum. So let's go step by step. We will start with the Velyka Novosilka direction. As you can see, over the past 24 hours, the map has changed, with several new geolocations appearing. Let's begin with the village of Novosilka. Yesterday, pro-Ukrainian cartographic services published a brief article describing combat operations in this small village. They also attached several objective control photographs confirming the presence of Russian forces in the area. Based on their report, map adjustments were made, and quite a large area was marked accordingly. Today, February 17th, additional information has emerged about the fighting in this settlement. More precisely, a geolocation from the center of Novosilka itself has appeared, possibly explaining yesterday's adjustments. In these images, we can see a convoy of Russian military equipment moving along the 05 to 10 highway. The Ukrainian side is trying to stop the Russian advance in every possible way, but some vehicles still manage to enter the settlement and deploy troops. According to various sources, the Russian side has established full control over the village. At least neutral and pro-Russian cartographers are now reporting full control. Adjustments were also made along the 510 highway. Again, based on video footage, we can observe the movement and attack of a Russian column along this road. So the situation on this flank is clear. Moving on to Novokomar, the Ukrainian side has also published objective control footage. In this case, the footage was shared by the 110th Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, which plays a key role in the defense of this sector. In these images, which appear to have been captured at night or during twilight, several heat anomalies are visible. These indicate the movement of Russian equipment and convoys toward Ukrainian positions. Following this episode, about 20 more reports were published, showing Ukrainian artillery and drone strikes targeting Russian vehicles. One such strike was geolocated at this point, and another was recorded along the Mokra Yali River, possibly where the Russian side planned to cross the river to advance toward Novocheretovatoye. Based on these images, map adjustments were made near Novokomar, the Mokra Yali River, and the coastal area of Novaya Cheretovataya. Yesterday, various mapping services, including pro-Ukrainian ones, noted the advance of Russian forward units into the southeastern part of this settlement. However, by the end of February 17th, we had not received any objective geolocated images confirming this. Now let's move on to unconfirmed reports. Today, some neutral cartographers have noted the further advance of Russian forces toward a strongpoint northwest of Velyka Novosilka. This is how the map has changed over the past 24 hours. Yesterday, there was still a noticeable distance between the strongpoint and the Russian army's potential forward positions. However, tonight, between February 17th and 18th, the Russian side is expected to make its first assault attempts. Summing up, we can clearly see that the Russian side is attacking toward the settlement of Skudnoye from Velyka Novosilka. The second offensive is being carried out from Velyka Novosilka toward Novosilka, a different smaller village. Additionally, strikes are being conducted in an area between these two settlements. Thus, the Russian army is advancing along three main directions. At the moment, the Ukrainian side is struggling to stabilize the front line. We are awaiting additional information and geolocations and will continue monitoring how the situation develops. Now, let's move toward Ulakly. 2 days ago, in the evening, the first reports emerged about a large-scale assault by the Russian Federation. Information was received about intense fighting, with various Ukrainian sources estimating that the number of Russian vehicles involved ranged from 20 to 50. The advance covered the entire southern Donetsk front, from Velyka Novosilka to the settlement of Ulakly. Reports also indicated that Russian forces had entered the settlements of Constantinople and Ulakly. Yesterday, some adjustments were made to the map, but by the evening of February 17th, the overall situation became clearer. Starting with Constantinople, Russian forces indeed advanced toward this settlement and managed to approach it closely. This is confirmed by objective control footage published by the Ukrainian side, showing Ukrainian artillery and frontline troops striking Russian assault units. One geolocation was recorded at this point, marking the closest confirmed position to the settlement. Regarding yesterday's map updates, some pro-Ukrainian cartographic services marked the southeastern part of the area, specifically a farm, as a grey zone, indicating that Russian forces may have reached this location as well. Moving toward Novokomar, Ukrainian forces have released objective control footage. In this case, the footage was published by the 110th Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, which is responsible for the defense of this area. The images appear to have been captured at night or during twilight, showing several thermal anomalies, likely Russian military vehicles moving toward Ukrainian positions. Following this event, about 20 additional videos were published, showing Ukrainian artillery and drone strikes against Russian vehicles. Some of these episodes were geolocated here, while others were near the Mokra Yali River, where Russian forces might have attempted a river crossing to advance toward Novocheretovo. Based on this footage, the map was updated to reflect changes near Novokomar, the Mokra Yali River, and along the shoreline of Novocheretovo. Yesterday, various mapping services, including pro-Ukrainian ones, reported that Russian forces had entered the southeastern part of the village. However, as of February 17th, no objective control footage has emerged to confirm this. Unconfirmed reports. Today, certain neutral cartographers have noted further Russian advances toward a stronghold northwest of Velyka Novosilka. Over the past 24 hours, the map has changed significantly. Yesterday, there was a gap between the stronghold and the Russian army's forward positions. Tonight, between February 17th and 18th, Russian forces are expected to launch their first assault attempts. Summing up, we can clearly see that the Russian side is trying to attack toward the village of Skudnoye from Velyka Novosilka. A second attack is being launched from Velyka Novosilka toward the smaller village of Novosilka. Additionally, there are strikes taking place in the middle of this area. In other words, the Russian army is advancing along three axes. At the moment, the Ukrainian side appears unable to stabilize the front line. We await further information and geolocations to monitor how the situation unfolds. Moving toward Ulakly. 2 days ago, reports emerged of a large-scale Russian assault in this area. Ukrainian sources reported heavy fighting and an extensive use of Russian armored vehicles, estimating between 20 and 50 units deployed. The advance covered the entire southern Donetsk sector, stretching from Velyka Novosilka to Ulakly. Reports indicated Russian forces entered the settlements of Constantinople and Ulakly. Yesterday, there were map updates. But today, February 17th, the situation has become clearer. Starting with Constantinople, Russian forces did indeed move toward the settlement, coming very close to it. Objective control images published by the Ukrainian side show Ukrainian artillery striking Russian assault units. One geolocation was recorded here, marking the closest point Russian forces have reached to the settlement. In yesterday's map updates, even pro-Ukrainian mapping services shaded the southeastern part of the area, a farm in grey, suggesting that Russian forces may have reached this location. By the end of February 17th, it remains unclear whether the Russian army has managed to secure the southeastern part or if they were forced to retreat. Moving on to Ulakly, the map is being updated within the pocket near a stronghold. Some cartographers, particularly pro-Russian ones, have already marked the entire pocket as controlled by Russia. However, no objective control footage has confirmed this yet. The pocket appears to be on the verge of collapse, and if not today or tomorrow, then soon, Russian forces will likely take full control of the area. Ukrainian forces will either surrender, attempt to break out, or face another fate. For now, we consider this area a grey zone, as resistance pockets may still exist. Though Russian forces are working to eliminate them, it is possible that by tonight all remaining resistance will be neutralized. Ulakly. Today one geolocation was published, showing the presence of Russian troops in the southeastern part of the settlement. Based on this footage, the map was slightly updated. Comparing maps from different sources, both neutral and pro-Ukrainian mapping services now acknowledge that the southern part of Ulakly is under firm Russian control. Given the current momentum, it is likely that Ukrainian forces will be completely expelled from the settlement toward Constantinople in the coming days. The situation is complex, and within the next day or two, this pocket will be fully eliminated. Moving to the Denipa sector, there is a minor frontline adjustment between Yasenevo and Andreevka, based on FPV drone strike footage against Russian frontline positions. A small adjustment was also made in Andreevka, marking the northern part, including some farms, under Russian control. This update is based on objective control footage released by Ukraine's 46th Separate Airmobile Brigade. Ukraine has also published FPV drone footage and artillery strikes on Russian forward positions. Given the upcoming negotiations on February 18th, expected to last until the end of the month, we should anticipate increased Russian offensives. The weather remains favorable for attacks, with stable sub-zero temperatures allowing the ground to remain frozen and firm, enabling vehicle movement. Russian forces are taking advantage of these conditions to launch attacks not only on the Donetsk and Denipa fronts, but across the entire front line. Pokrovsk direction, objective control footage from the village of Pesano was published today, showing a Russian soldier moving through a construction site. Based on this footage, Pesano was marked as under Russian control. Earlier, in January and early February, Ukraine launched a series of counterattacks during poor weather conditions, regaining full control of Pesano. However, as soon as weather conditions improved for Russian forces, they quickly reasserted control. With logistics restored, Russian forces are now advancing again in the Udakny and Kotlin areas. Today, Ukraine published drone strike footage against Russian forward positions. The map was updated in the Nelyonidovka area. Previously, this area was contested, but now there is no doubt that the tree line is under firm Russian control. Chasiv Yar direction. Ukrainian sources unanimously report that the last Ukrainian units have withdrawn from the town, with evacuations ongoing. Only rearguard battles remain, and map adjustments are being made. The most significant update comes from the Stupochki area, where Russian forces have reached the village. If they secure this position, they will gain direct access to the N32 highway, enabling strikes toward southeastern and eastern Konstantinovka. It remains unclear when the final operation to storm Konstantinovka will begin, but attacks are expected from three directions: Chasiv Yar, Donetsk, and Vozdvizhenka along the N32 highway. Other sectors, the Seversk, southern Kupiansk, and Lyman sectors, remain unchanged, with ongoing assaults, though they are less intense compared to the southern Donetsk, Donetsk, and Konstantinovka fronts. Severokupiansk direction. The most significant and crucial updates today come from the Ukrainian side of the Dvoreshnaya and Oskol rivers. In the Dvoreshnaya area, the Russian forces have expanded their bridgehead to the maximum possible extent over the past 24 hours. Just yesterday, the situation looked quite different. However, today, neutral cartographers estimate that the Russian-controlled bridgehead on this side of the river has expanded by approximately 33% due to offensive actions. This information has been confirmed by both pro-Russian and neutral mapping sources. Additionally, even pro-Ukrainian mapping services acknowledge this progress, though they portray it in a more limited way. Regardless, Russian positions here are already quite substantial. The bridgehead is well established. I will repeat once again, we no longer consider the operation on the Ukrainian side of the Oskol as just an attempt to establish a foothold. This is now a full-scale offensive, which the Ukrainian side currently seems unable to contain. Kupiansk direction. We are also receiving significant updates from this sector. Today, new footage from the village of Pisarevka has been released, showing another Ukrainian armed forces unit caught in an ambush. A large number of geolocated strikes on forward positions have been documented. To remind you, this is the only operational road, the H07 highway, leading towards Sudzha, which the Ukrainian forces rely on to supply their troops in the Kursk region. We have repeatedly discussed how this area remains under heavy Russian fire control. So far, at least a dozen Ukrainian military vehicles have been destroyed here, and Russian forces continue to target this supply route, Sverdlikovo and Sudzha axis. The most critical update today comes from the village of Sverdlikovo. According to the latest report from the Russian Ministry of Defense, the Sever North grouping has successfully secured and fully cleared this settlement. Based on this official announcement, the map has been updated accordingly.